looking quite beige, done me deep in the haze. There's no more compassion, no. Raise me, I need something fast, I need something to last and give satisfaction.
Hello and welcome to Trevor's Barking Mad channel. My name's Trevor, and well, wandering around here are the two barking mad ones, Dottie and Toto. Or maybe I'm just barking mad. Welcome to the channel. This is vlog 49. We're getting there gradually. Sorry about the delay. And this is all about the cost of houses, or the house costs, versus living on the canals. So I'm going to try and make this as quick as possible. There's no gossip corner this week to keep the time down on the vlog, and I've done this twice already. It's gone over an hour, so here goes. What I'm doing in this comparison is the cost of the house, the running of it. My house is on equity release. I pay no rent, no mortgage. It's comparing it to a narrowboat, averaging about 57 to 58 foot, something like that. Constantly cruising. It's also comparing the same narrowboat moored up, maybe going out cruising 1 or 2 days a week, but the rest of the time moored up either in a marina or on a canal side mooring. It's comparing a wide beam, constantly cruising, and also a wide beam, likewise moored up either in a marina or canal side permanent mooring. So the first cost, one of the most important ones, is rent or mortgage. So as I just said, no, I don't pay any rent or mortgage onto the house. On the narrowboat, constantly cruising, be looking roughly, the few times you put it into a marina, £400 a year. A narrowboat permanently moored either in a marina or canal side, it's going to be roughly £2.5 grand, 2,500. Wide beam, constantly cruising, I've allowed £600 for the couple of months you might want to put it into a marina over the winter, and the wide beam on a permanent mooring, roughly about £4,000 a year. Diesel costs, obviously the house doesn't run on diesel, so that is zero. Narrowboat, constantly cruising, I've done 520 because you're going to be using the engine a lot more. Narrowboat moored up in a marina or permanent mooring, £260 a year. And a wide beam, exactly the same cost, constantly cruising, 520, and moored up in a marina or canal side mooring, 260. Now look at the council tax. Council tax on the house is £950. That's what I actually pay, my single person discount. On any of the boats, unless you're on a proper residential mooring, you'll pay zero council tax. Most people use, if they're using a long-term mooring, use a leisure mooring, which means they have to move the boat in a marina to a different marina, different pontoon every 6 months. Easy way around it. License. I don't need a license to live in the house. I pay council tax. To put your boat onto the canal system, the CRT system, you need a Canal River Trust license. For the narrow boats, that's £950, regardless of how you use it. And the wide beam is £1,200. I've put gas. I'm not a fan of gas. So the house has a zero. On the boats, all you're mainly going to ever use gas for is cooking, so that's the hob, oven and grill. So for all of those across the board, I've done £160 a year per boat. That's allowing 4 gas cylinders, 13 kilograms at £40 a go. Coal and logs, well, I don't use any in the house because I'm all electric, but on the boats you do very often have a multi-fuel stove for a nice little booster to the heating system, the central heating. So I've allowed for the coal £384 per boat regardless, and that's allowing you 2 bags a week over 4 months, I think I did it for. And anything extra can be salvaged from fallen trees or logs on the canal side. Free fuel. You couldn't even make that £384 zero if you really wanted to. Electric, quite a difficult subtopic to put a price on. My house is quite easy. I pay £100 at the moment. It's going to go up in October and my fixed rate changes, so I've allowed £140 a month, and that comes out £1,740. It is the biggest expense on my house. On the boats I have allowed £300 a piece, purely because it depends on your solar array, your battery system, and your inverter, and how many times you actually plug into the 240 volts. Obviously if you're in a mooring, you're going to do a lot more electric that way, but you could be still be using your batteries from the solar. So very much an iffy one. It could cost a lot less, it could cost a lot more if you're using the 240 volts in the marina all the time. So to even it out, I've done £300 per boat. The house doesn't need a service. The boats all need a service roughly every 250 hours of running the engine. That averages out twice a year, I believe. So I've allowed £400 for a service, because that includes changing the belts, etc. So that's £800 per boat per year. You might say, well, the wide beam's going to cost more, aren't they? Same engines basically. Might be slightly bigger, but the difference is minimal. So still going to need fuel filters, air filters, oil, and 2, possibly 3, depending on the setup, alternator belts. The RCR, River Canal Rescue, like the AA system on the canals and the rivers. Obviously my house isn't bobbing along the rivers, so that is zero. On all the boats, on the narrow boats, I've done £350, which I believe is around the price for the gold one, and £400 I've estimated for the wide beam a year. To insurance, this does go across the whole board here. My house insurance is £350 a year, that's contents and buildings. On the boat side, I've done £300 for the narrow boats, which from what other vloggers have said, it does vary from just under 200 to about 350. So I've done £300 for the narrow boat and £400 for the wide beam. To blacking, my house doesn't need blacking. Obviously it's not floating in the water. Blacking is bitumen, which protects the hull against corrosion, and anodes, which also do the same. So you do that every 2 to 3 years approximately on the vessels. So it comes to, if you're getting someone else to do it, which I would, I am not getting it down and dirty myself. So I've allowed £400 a year for the narrow boats and £500 a year for the wide beams. Repairs, here's a difficult one. Repairs, £400 on the house. That's roughly what I've averaged out a year on doing different things. You have a bigger expense some years, like this year I had the fence repaired that blew down in Storm Eunice. That actually came to about £480, but it's stood up for 15 years and it's cost me nothing. So, but then other things need repairing, plumbing or electrical. So I've allowed £400 on the house and £200 a year on the narrow boat and £300 a year on the wide beams. Water. In my house, I have a water meter, and I pay for the supply of water £35 roughly twice a year. On the boats, you fill up your boat's water tank, which is between usually 100 and 200 gallons. Totally free, using your blue hose pipe from the water taps along the canal side. So it's free, it's all part of your license money. And finally we come to sewage. In my house I pay Southern Water 2 lots of roughly about £78 a year every 6 months. And so I've allowed £160 a year, and once again, to use the Elson points or to use the rubbish, etc. On the boats, it costs £0. It's all part of your license fee again. So now to do a drum roll, the final figures. This has actually quite surprised me. I've only just done this, literally, and I am quite surprised as to the outcome. The house per annum is £3,670. The narrowboat constantly cruising is £4,764. The narrowboat in a marina or on a canal side mooring, £6,604. The wide beam constantly cruising, £5,614, which actually isn't bad. And the wide beam on a canal side mooring or in a marina, £8,754. So to put those into weekly figures, what that comes out at per week, the house, £71 a week for its running costs. The narrowboat constantly cruising, £92 a week. Narrowboat on a mooring, £127 a week. The wide beam constantly cruising, £108 a week. And the wide beam on a mooring, £167 a week. That's almost another £100. So in terms that I look at it, is that the wide beam on a mooring would be another 3 Amazon blocks. The wide beam constantly cruising would be 1 extra Amazon block. This is per week. The narrowboat on a permanent mooring would be 2 Amazon blocks extra per week. And finally, the narrowboat constantly cruising would be a small Amazon block extra per week. There we go, that has surprised me. I thought the narrowboat constantly cruising would have been the cheapest, beating the house. So that has actually quite surprised me. Obviously the electricity cost was my biggest expense with the house. I haven't gone into all the personal things like food, pet insurances, car costs, etc. I will just say that in the house electricity cost, that does include charging up my Nissan Leaf electric car, which cost me roughly currently 86p a night. So that does include that, and I haven't included that into the narrowboats. Whether electric cars actually possible in that scenario, be a bit difficult, I think, constantly cruising, but in a marina or possibly a canal side mooring, there's a possibility in the right place that could happen. So there we go. That has surprised me. What did you think? So here are the calculations and how it all worked out. Please feel free to pause and have a good old look. Thank you. There is no gossip corner this week because I want to keep this as short and sweet, just like me. Wow! So hopefully you found this interesting. I haven't just taken figures out of the air. I have watched about 4 vloggers who have done their costs over the last 12 months, and everyone is different as to how much they use, how they use it. Some people have a telly, some people don't have a telly, etc, etc. So it's all very personal and down to the actual individuals. Some there's 2 or 3 or 4 people on the boat, some there's just 1 person on the boat. Also makes a difference in the cost, and the type of toilet they have could also add to the cost. If they got a pump out loo, for example, if they haven't got solar on the roof to charge up their batteries and possibly dump the extra electric into the hot water tank. Once again, there's a lot of differences that can and would happen. I know what I'm looking for in a boat, and it would be perhaps the most efficient I could afford to do for the money. So there we go. Thank you very much. Please don't hesitate to subscribe if you like the channel, and I hope you do. Give me the thumbs up, give me the thumbs down if you haven't. It all helps the algorithms, or whatever it's called, with YouTube, and I'd love to hear your comments, what you think about it. This is all in the lead up to going to Crick with my friend Lynn. We're going to be spreading the channel love out there and meeting all these vlogger friends that I have come across over the last 2.5 years, and I can actually hopefully get to meet a lot of you at Crick, actually face to face. It'll be wonderful. This point is to be emotional. But you have a lovely day, and thank you very much for watching.